Well, hello, hyperspace. My name is Davontos, and it's time to get hyped because this is some epic Infinite Warfare gameplay. I'm using my favorite weapon, the Volk, specifically the Volk Corruption, which earns you extra XP, which helps you level up faster. So, in this video, we're actually going to talk about something that they added in Infinite Warfare that's really, really good, and it's actually a new gun. A gun that a lot of you COD players can be very familiar with if you've played Call of Duty Ghost. That's the Honey Badger! They added the Honey Badger in Infinite Warfare, and it's amazing. It has actually a couple of hidden perks to it that the description doesn't mention, as do some of the Call of Duty guns. They've been doing this for years, since like Modern Warfare 1. A lot of the guns had these hidden perks. For example, you can have, let's say, the G-Rail. Not the G-Rail, too much Infinite Warfare. You can have the G3. And the G3 is actually very, very weak with a suppressor. It hampers the damage and the range a lot more than it should. And putting stopping power in the G-Rail really gives it such a huge benefit. It basically makes it a little stronger than the M16. You didn't hear it from me. So, I actually want to talk about that Honey Badger that was in Infinite Warfare. Now, I believe it was a special limited time offer that you could have gotten Honey Badger. I don't know if it's still available now, but if you did get the Honey Badger, we're actually going to talk about it and compare it to the NV4. Because the NV4 is, I'd say it's probably one of the most popular weapons in Infinite Warfare because it's very, very versatile, except at close range. That's where the K-Bar starts to outperform the NV4. But yeah, the NV4 and the K-Bar, those are probably the two most versatile assault rifles in Infinite Warfare. And the Honey Badger is kind of like the bridge between the K-Bar and the NV4 because it has a lot of hidden perks. So, first off, the Honey Badger, as it did in Ghost, it comes with a built-in suppressor. That's really good. The cool thing about this suppressor is it functions like a suppressor, but it has the damage output as if you have long barrel attached. So that basically means it has greater range than the standard NV4 with all the benefits of having a suppressor. Now, there is one downside to this Honey Badger, and that it has a little bit more recoil than the NV4. I would say the recoil is, again, it's like between the K-Bar and the NV4. It's not too much. You can still pick off targets at long ranges, but you know how a couple times you can snipe people off with the NV4? You can't do that with the Honey Badger. It shakes just a little bit too much, but it's still sustainable at really, really long ranges. So you can kind of say the Honey Badger is like the flatline variant of the NV4 alongside your standard, K-Bar. And the reason I say K-Bar is because it has this perk that hip firing the Honey Badger actually increases the fire rate. Now, it doesn't say that in the weapon description, but it makes it a really, really reliable gun. So just think of it like this. You aim down the sights, and you have a gun that's a little less accurate than the NV4, but we all know the NV4 is like a laser beam, so it's still really good at long ranges. So you have a Honey Badger, while ADS, it's really, really good at long ranges. And if you're caught in those tight situations, you can hip fire, and it fires just as fast as the K-Bar, making it possibly one of the best assault rifles in the game. Now, it's not overpowered, it still can't compete against like the ERAD at close range, or like snipers at long range, but if you want to go about assault rifles, I would highly, highly recommend the Honey Badger. Now, for the attachments on this thing, I would actually recommend, well, quick draw, obviously, and a laser sight. That's kind of all you need. Because it has such good range, as I said, better range than the standard NV4, you don't need long barrel. Yeah, you can equip long barrel and a suppressor for basically insanely high range, but if you're going to do that, just use the NV4 flatline. It comes down to the same thing. So, yeah, the only thing you would need on this is quick draw for the close range gunfights and a laser sight for, if somebody pops up and you want to hip fire. And I'm really, really glad they're adding these new weapons in Infinite Warfare. The Infinite Warfare is, what, 2 years old now, I think? Something like that? I forget. Yeah, it is 2 years old, because it came out on 2016. So it's 2 years old now, and they're still adding guns to it. The same thing they did with Black Ops 3, and I'm really, really glad because there's a big community, not as big as Black Ops 3, but, I mean, face it, it's Call of Duty. People are still playing Black Ops 1 nowadays. So there's a fairly large community still playing Infinite Warfare, so I'm really glad to see them that they're still supporting this game and, patching bugs and giving us some more weapons and so on. And I want to answer a really quick question that you guys tend to ask me a lot. How am I so good in Infinite Warfare? It's actually my button layout. Now, I mentioned this a long, long time ago in one of my Black Ops 3 videos. If you set your, I think it's the button layout, yeah, you set your button layout to bumper jumper, and what that basically does is it swaps your tactical grenade and your jump grenade button. It just swaps those two and allows you to actually maneuver really, really well in the air, so you can basically jump with L1, and you can, still have your fingers on the joystick so you can jump, turn, ADS, and do everything while airborne, giving you a huge advantage in gunfights that happen to take place, well, in the air. And if you happen to run into somebody and they jump up, as some players tend to do, you can easily just press L1 and follow them up in the air, making it a fair gunfight. That's just a really quick answer for you guys, because a lot of people tend to ask me, you know, how am I so good in IW, or how, when I used to play Black Ops 3, well, there you go, bumper jumper. And, I just want to see... There's just one problem with Infinite Warfare, and it's the Model 2187 Thundershock. That's a 3-round burst shotgun. Now, this shotgun is a little overpowered. I've used every single gun in Infinite Warfare, at least one, all of the variants and everything. And I have to say, the Thundershock Model 2187 has to be a little OP because it's a 3-round burst. Now, I actually left some feedback on Activision support, spoke to some guys up Infinity Ward, and hopefully they, you know, take note of it and patch this gun, because you can kind of compare it to the Banshee Dropler, which is another 3-round burst shotgun. The Banshee Dropler has a 3-round burst, meaning it has more damage, but to make up for it, the gun has more recoil and less range, kind of balancing it out. The Thundershock 2187 does not. The Thundershock 87 barely has any recoil, yeah, it has a slower rechamber rate, but with that's such high damage coming out so fast, the rechamber rate doesn't really matter. And there's been a lot of times where me or other teammates have been shot from ranges where shotguns are just supposed to injure a target, but because of using the Thundershock variant, you can still take them out in like 2 or a full 3-round burst, and it's just not really that fair. So I feel like if they just maybe decrease the range, add some more recoil, it would be a really fair gun, and Infinite Warfare can be well balanced as it was at launch, and well, as it is now, except for the, Thundershock. So, if you like this video, punch that like button with a mighty force. You can follow me up on Twitter at Davontos, man. Let me know what you think about the Honey Badger in Infinite Warfare, and as always, I'll see all of you in the next video. Have a nice day!